and welcome back to the Co-Host Accelerator. We're in Module 3 here, learning the market. And I want to take a few minutes to show you two of the tools that I use to analyze a property and help me learn the market, specifically when I'm looking at acquiring a new property or a new listing. So the first tool that I use, it's called Elliott & Me. It's elliottandme.com. I'll include the link in the information below this video. Elliott & Me has actually recently been acquired by Airbnb, and it will give you an estimate of how much your home potentially could make on Airbnb or other short-term rental sites. So you'll go to the website, put in the address that you're considering acquiring right here, and that'll bring you to a page that looks like this. This is just an example address here that I threw in, and it gives you a summary of the estimated performance of that home based on performance of other similar listings in the area. So it'll tell you what it thinks the size of the house is. It can accommodate 4 people, 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. If that is different from what it says up here, obviously you want to change that to get an accurate estimate. Now, one thing that I will say about Elliott & Me, they're very accurate, or they're very consistent, but they're consistently high. So when I am looking at an estimate from Elliott & Me, I will usually cut the daily rate in half to get me a more accurate estimate. They're quite high, and you can see here that their kind of highlighted rate is Super Bowl week, which happened in Atlanta or in February of 2019. And Super Bowl week obviously is not going to be a normal week. So the numbers are elevated, but they are consistently elevated by about the same amount, or inflated by about the same amount. So I think they still give you, an accurate a picture. You just have to dial the numbers back down a little bit. But I can look here and I can see it's giving me, what they think their average daily estimate is right at $300. And then, what the trends have looked like over the past year. And there's some events information there as well. So that's Elliott & Me. So generally, when I am looking at a property, I will compare the Elliott & Me report with another tool called AirDNA, which if you've been in the short-term rental market for any amount of time, you've probably heard about this, airdna.co. And they've got a lot of tools. Some of them are free, some of them are not. I think the free version of the tool works just fine. So you'll go to airdna.co, put in your location here. You can just put in a zip code. So for example, it'll give you populate with the rest of the city information there, and that will bring you to this page right here. If you haven't already signed up for AirDNA, you're going to be prompted with a pop-up to sign up. You can sign up for free, and that'll give you access to a limited amount of data. So I just encourage you to go ahead and do that. And then you can view market overview insights based on zip code. You can't view based on individual address in the free version, but frankly, I've never needed that. If you want to get more detailed information, you can pay, I think it starts at $39.95 monthly, depending on the package that you're wanting to get. But I think the free version is just fine. And if you look here at the average daily rate, $154, that is almost exactly half of what we saw in Elliott & Me. So, that's why, just another example of kind of why I recommend to just cut that number in half from Elliott & Me, because it is a little inflated, but consistently inflated. So I guess that's helpful. So we can see here, based on the zip code that I put in, we've got our average daily rate. The occupancy rate is at 50% on average, average monthly revenue, and the types of rentals that are in that zip code, mostly entire home, some private rooms as well. And we can see AirDNA actually covers more than just Airbnb. It covers Airbnb, HomeAway, and I think there might be some other sites as well, but maybe not, because those are the only two they're showing there. And so this will give you kind of a really good idea of what, the market in this area is doing. And wow, look at this, the rental growth over since 2016 has been consistently going up and up and up and up and up. So that's a good trend. That's the direction that we want to see things going. And as I scroll down, you'll see that there's a lot more insights even on common amenities, ratings, rental activity, things like that. And rental settings, what most of people have their cancellation policy and minimum nights set for. So this is a really, really helpful tool to help you see if a listing is going to be worth it. Now, I'll remind you, if you're doing the co-hosting model, which is what I teach and what I recommend and what I personally do myself, these numbers don't matter as much as they would if you were, buying a house or looking to do rental arbitrage or master leasing, because you're not paying the rent or the mortgage, depending on what your model is. So for you, the risk of financial loss or liabilities is very, very low. So really what you're deciding is, well, take this to your owner and see, is this worth it for them when they see numbers like this? Does this cover their mortgage? Or do they want to look at other channels? And then, you need to make the decision, is it worth it for you to make 15, 20, 30% of this average monthly revenue, whatever your management fee is that you agree with this owner. I have found that almost every co-hosted space that I acquire is worth it, as long as the owner's not crazy, because you end up putting very little time into the space once you get your processes up and running. So even if it's only making you a couple $100 a month, that's a couple $100 you wouldn't have elsewhere or otherwise. And so, if it's not costing you a lot of time, then why not? So AirDNA and Elliott and Me, those are the two tools that I use to most frequently to analyze a listing. I would encourage you, this is, like I said, this is just the free version. I'm not paying anything for this. Take a screenshot of this when you go to meet with an owner of both the tools, actually, and so they can see hard numbers and know that you're not just making things up about what their property could make. Now, I will say this number and then, the half of Elliott and Me, those are actually fairly conservative numbers. Obviously, the full number that you're getting from Elliott and Me is quite high, but if you're looking at these numbers like the AirDNA numbers, I find in my experience that they've actually been quite conservative. So you can tell your owner that it's likely they'll make more than this, but this is what they should expect, and go into it, and they can decide if it's worth it for them based on these numbers. And then if they make more, then that's just icing on the cake. All right, so there's a quick overview for you of some of the rental analyzer tools that I use. I hope this was helpful. I'll include the links in the information below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.